I barely even recognize San Antonio after all this change over the last couple of years. I mean, with the great migration, everybody moving here from COVID, I mean, it seems like something new is popping up on every corner. But some things still remain the same. This is the all-new pros and cons of living in San Antonio, Texas. We're gonna get into everything you need to know about living in this great city, everything that I personally love about it from living here my entire life, and some of the things that I don't like so much about it. So let's get into it. Pro number one, there is a lot to do in San Antonio, as I'm sure you already know. I mean, we're here at the Riverwalk, so this is kind of a big deal. We also have Pearl District, which is just down the road from here. I mean, the downtown area is superb anyway, and we're gonna get into that a little bit later. But some of the things that me and my family like to do, I've got a couple kids, my wife, we love to go to SeaWorld, we love to go to the zoo, we go to Natural Bridge Wildlife Ranch, Natural Bridge Caverns, we go to the museum, to over off Broadway. Pearl District is a great spot for us to go out to eat. I mean, there's all kinds of stuff like that to do. You also have parks, seems like every which way you look. Bernie and New Braunfels are just, a couple, 30-minute drives away, and there's a ton of stuff to do in both those places, especially in New Braunfels with Schlitterbahn and the river and everything else. Man, there's so many different shopping centers. You got La Cantera, the Rim. You got the big Bass Pro Shops over there. I'm a big outdoorsman guy myself, so I really like to go over there. You also have North Star Mall. You have the Almacori markets. I mean, there's shops down here at River Center on the Riverwalk itself. I mean, the list goes on and on and on. Con number one is that for a big city being San Antonio, I mean, San Antonio is one of the largest cities in the country. We don't get a whole lot of the other stuff that like the big cities like Dallas and Houston get. We get passed up quite a bit for some of the big, A-list concerts, I would say. We don't have a whole lot of professional sports teams. I mean, we got the San Antonio Spurs, which is awesome. I mean, last night was the NBA draft.
The San Antonio Spurs select Victor Wembanyama.
The NBA draft is outstanding. We had the number one pick. We got the best prospect in the world. Anyways, we'll go on about that later. But we also have some little minor league teams. I mean, we have San Antonio Missions minor league baseball team. We have XFL. We have, USL Soccer League, which they actually are pretty good. They won a championship this last year, but nothing in the way of some of these big cities like Houston and Dallas. I mean, we're missing a lot of stuff whenever it comes to all of that. Pro number two is that San Antonio is in an outstanding location. I mean, not only with it being in Texas, being in kind of central Texas location it's at, we're really close to a lot of different stuff. I mean, we're right on the Texas Hill Country, basically the start of the Texas Hill Country. We're only a couple hours from the beach to get down to like South Padre Island, Port Aransas, Rockport, all those different places. We're an easy drive to Austin. I mean, you don't have to deal with all the weirdness of Austin. I mean, we used to go to Austin all the time growing up, and it's just changed so much now. So we don't really like to spend a whole lot of time there, but if we do like to go, it's nice to be, just 30, 45 minutes away and can drive up there for the day, go out to eat, do whatever we want to do up there, and then come back. We're also in a good spot because being kind of in South Central Texas, we don't get all the bad weather that like Dallas and Houston get. I mean, we're far enough away from the beach where we don't have to worry about hurricanes, and being further south, you don't really have to worry about tornadoes too much down here either. Con number two is that the allergies are serious here in San Antonio. I'll give you an example. My dad has cedar fever really bad. Whenever we were growing up, he would have to get shots just to, kind of try to deal with this cedar fever that he would have. And I know a lot of people that move here from out of state, especially from up north where it's not as bad, and they get the allergies extremely bad down here. I mean, San Antonio is actually ranked the 5th worst city in the country for allergies. I mean, so it's kind of just a battle that you have to take in stride. I don't personally have too much issues with it. I don't ever have to take any allergy medicine except for maybe once or twice a year whenever I get a little bit of a cold. But again, it's just something you got to figure out if it's something that's going to be a big deal for you when you move here. Pro number three, San Antonio has extremely affordable housing. We always have, and one of the things that draws a lot of people here is because of that. I mean, we have over 450 homes that are brand new homes that are under $300,000 right now, which is really hard to get anywhere in the country. Our median price point is $305,000, which is the lowest out of any of the big metros in Texas. And it's one of the lowest out of all the big metros in the entire country, especially with San Antonio being so large. I mean, it's hard to find affordable housing like that San Antonio has. Now, on that note about housing, I want to remind you that if you have any questions whatsoever about moving to San Antonio, I want you to reach out at any point in time. I'm a realtor here in San Antonio. I own the Life in San Antonio, Texas home group. I've lived here my entire life. I absolutely love helping people just like you move here to San Antonio. So whether you're moving here in 2 days, 2 years, feel free to call, text, email, anytime, day or night. My information is right here, and I would more than happy to talk to you about your moving to San Antonio or anywhere in the surrounding areas. Con number three. So it's not really that big of a surprise, I guess, that San Antonio is a big city. There's construction, there's traffic everywhere. It seems like there's a little bit more in San Antonio than some of these other areas, but maybe it's because it's maybe not as big of an area, so you kind of notice it a lot more. I don't know. I don't really know what it is, but anywhere you go in San Antonio, you're always going to see some kind of road construction. I mean, Highway 281 going up northeast has been under construction for 5 or so years, but once it's been done here in the last couple of months, it has been outstanding just to drive through. I-10 going up towards Bernie was under construction for years and years and years, and it was done the last couple of years. And now they're getting ready to start on 1604 and the 35, I-10, 281. I mean, the whole thing is getting ready to blow up and become a 10-lane highway. I mean, it's a multi-billion-dollar project that they're getting ready to start. So we're going to have lots of traffic and congestion on 1604 on that north side. 410 seems like it's always under construction. Same thing with 35. And it just never really ends. So it's all good things. I mean, it has a lot to do with San Antonio growing so much. But just a simple fact that, you know, you're having to deal with it is just never any fun, really. Pro number 4 is that San Antonio has a seriously underrated downtown area. I mean, just look at the Riverwalk where we're at right here. I mean, there's miles of this Riverwalk down here, tons of shops, tons of restaurants, all kinds of different places to go. Also, one thing about San Antonio to note is that if you can hear this airplane, there's lots of military bases around here. So downtown area includes the Riverwalk, includes all the areas outside of the Riverwalk. You also have the Pearl District, which is, you know, outstanding in itself. Then you also have a couple areas near downtown. So you have King William District, you have Southtown Arts District. So all of those different places give really unique opportunities that are very different to each other. So the Pearl District is kind of an open courtyard area. You know, you got the Riverwalk here. That's, you know, you can sit all along the Riverwalk. You can eat dinner at the Riverwalk, eat lunch at the Riverwalk, go shopping, whatever you need to do. And then King William District has a lot of historical, you know, restaurants and houses that you can buy, all of your those. Con number 4. So one of the things that a lot of people don't like to talk about is the crime in San Antonio. So San Antonio definitely has higher crime when we look at all the statistics. I mean, most every place that I've looked at is showing San Antonio as having the second highest crime, only behind Houston in Texas. And that's not counting some other smaller cities that have some smaller demographics, but when you look at the big cities. So that's one thing you just got to consider when you're looking at it. I mean, there's definitely lots of areas in town that are going to have some higher crime, but the biggest thing for me is that you do your research, go look up your different, you know, crime statistics, look at the crime maps, look at the San Antonio Police Department crime blotter so you can kind of see where all that kind of comes into play. And all that stuff is going to really give you a good feel as far as which areas, you know, you need to look for as far as the suburbs maybe have the lowest crime, which areas of town have the lowest crime. All of that stuff is just super important to look at because this is a higher crime area. I mean, looking in town definitely has a lot higher crime rates than, you know, say your smaller suburbs that are outside of San Antonio. Pro number 5 is that San Antonio is one of the fastest growing cities in the entire country. Back in 2021, we were ranked number 1 as fastest growing city in literally the entire country. So that's a really good investment for you as far as coming here and moving here and buying a home. I mean, you know, you just look at some of the price growth that we've had over the last couple of years, and granted, everywhere it grew a lot, but San Antonio grew exponentially. I mean, we grew almost 40-50% in some areas. And the biggest thing about this too is that San Antonio has never historically really crashed at all. I mean, back in 2008 with the big housing crash, we really just kind of plateaued and just kept going up. I talk about this a lot in this channel. San Antonio is very stable because of all the military bases here, medical, education. Our economy is just extremely stable just because of the healthy environment that Texas has as a whole. So all those things make Texas and San Antonio a really good place to move to. Con number 5 is that the property taxes, of course, in San Antonio are just terrible. I mean, there's no question at all that San Antonio and Texas as a whole has some of the worst property taxes in the nation. Texas ranks, I think, like the 6th worst out of all the states as far as worst property taxes and the highest property taxes. So you really need to consider that whenever you're looking at buying houses. There's different areas that have different, you know, property tax rates. In San Antonio, you're looking at about a 2.35%, 2.4% rate. So just take that in consideration. There's really, I mean, I do a ton of videos on this topic in particular. So you really got to do a lot of research, and that's one of the things you can reach out. You know, if we want to discuss the property taxes, I can tell you exactly what it's going to look like in each different neighborhood because it literally changes by the neighborhood. You can go from one neighborhood, you know, up north in the suburbs in Bernie, you're at like 1.6%, 1.7%, and then in San Antonio, you're in some neighborhoods that are 2.6%. So it's massive differences just across the city itself. Pro number 6 is quick and easy. San Antonio is and always has had that small town feel for a big city. Very friendly people here. I mean, you know, you're just walking around and people say hi to you. I mean, you got that good Texas hospitality, like they like to say, and it doesn't really feel that difficult to get across town. It's super quick, easy drive. I mean, to get across town, completely across town for work for me, you know, is literally like an hour max. I mean, that's the worst drive that I have throughout the day. So very good small town feel in San Antonio. Con number 6, even though we don't get the tornadoes or the hurricanes, we still get a lot of hailstorms. So that is the worst part of the weather here in San Antonio, other than it being super dry sometimes and us going through a lot of droughts. hailstorms here can really cause damage. But, you know, you get good insurance. Good thing is you get a new roof out of it every few years, and just pay attention to it and make sure that all your cars and everything are covered. So pro number 7, of course, we're in San Antonio. This is Texas. And just the fact that being in Texas is a pro that deserves its own topic all on its own. I mean, you got Texas pride. You've got some of the best, you know, lowest tax burdens in the entire country. You got all the freedoms that Texas, gives you. You got all kinds of environments, different geographies. I mean, pretty much any kind of geography you want, from mountains to deserts to, you know, coastal regions to piney woods to hill country to, you know, big rolling plains up north. I mean, just anything and everything you could ever imagine in Texas. You got, you know, all 4 seasons in one day in some cases, so you're never, you know, running out of things and being surprised by different things, and there's always so much to do. Just being in Texas, living in Texas is just a joy all on its own. And then con number 7 is going to be the heat. And not only is this a major con, this is also a major pro. We're gonna add it as an extra pro actually. So pro number 8 and con number 7 is the heat. So there's a lot of people that move here, and I've talked to a lot of people that moved here from up north that moved here specifically because of the warmer weather. They don't care if it gets to be 105 degrees, they're just tired of having to shovel their driveways with snow, tired of having to live in their house for 6 months to 8 months out of the year. And you know, it's just an easy way to get used to it. I mean, come down here, be able to wear shorts and a t-shirt, you know, and almost every day of the year. I mean, that's outstanding. But again, with it being hot, it is humid as heck.
Feels a little humid.
I mean, I sweat every time I go out and look at houses with clients, so it's just something I've grown to deal with. And honestly, I don't mind it all that much. I'd rather deal with this than deal with the freezing cold and below 0 temperatures any day of the week. Now, one other thing, if you are thinking of moving here at all, be sure to check out this video right here, the ultimate guide to moving to San Antonio, Texas. And if you have any questions whatsoever, reach out to me or just come visit for yourself. San Antonio is a place that you got to see to believe, and I promise you, you're going to love it and you're going to love moving here. Be sure to reach out if you do.